Well, hi there. It's a beautiful, magnificent, actually, Sunday, early afternoon. It is the 18th of April, 2021, Journal 414. And for a change, I can state with some degree of certainty it is T plus 747, 747 days since my transplant. And I know that because when I went in for the bone marrow biopsy, it's one of the few times that they actually identified the date, the number of days post-transplant. And I can figure it out from there. I have a mile marker. And you can check that post on markers. This post is about ambiguity, and it's really kind of funny in a way because it's a longer than normal post about the importance of communicating clearly and precisely. And then after having finished it, I realized when I wrote the last sentence that said the only thing that's worse than not communicating well is not communicating at all. I recognize something that really is worthy of a post of its own, and that is that before you try and communicate that which you want, need, or expect from someone else, you better have some kind of an idea of what that is all about yourself. You better know what it is you want before you try and convince somebody else to do that for you, or at least get involved in attempting to do it. And I think that's where a lot of us fail in the recognition of the realization of really coming to terms with what it is we want, and then identifying that, writing it down if necessary, stating it ourselves so we can be sure it is what we want before we start trying to communicate our wants, needs, and expectations to someone else. This idea of clarity of communication is critical, especially in interpersonal relationships, because so many times, you wind up getting into this dialogue of, why did you do that? And response of, well, I thought that's what you wanted. And the fact of the matter is, many times, it's not what either parties wanted. It's just something that got done and you don't know how or why, and sometimes it's even impossible to go ahead and work backwards through it to undo it. The other issue that's really important to recognize is that communication is this two-way street. It really requires both parties ensuring that someone there's understanding and that someone is understood. And as Stephen Covey said, you seek first to understand before you try and become understood. And it's important. And I think that goes to the heart of this whole idea of knowing what it is you want before you start trying to communicate what it is you want to someone else. And having some kind of an idea of what that is, and being able to go ahead and visualize that in your own mind so that you can see it clearly and hopefully figure out whether or not that's really what you want. Because sometimes we aren't always the best judge of what we want, need, or expect in order to be successful, or whatever our idea of success is. So I think it's an interesting function, component of human nature, and I don't think that we spend enough time really contemplating not only what it is we want, but how we're going to communicate those wants, needs, and expectations to someone else, to another human being, who is trying to reconcile that with their own wants, needs, and expectations. And, that's one of the reasons that I've said in almost everything that I've written over the years, is that you got to think about the other. You got to think about who it is you're talking to, and you've got to recognize that unless you can come up with a good whiff unless you can go ahead and identify or demonstrate what's in it for them, I'm not sure that you have a really successful, you have a really strong opportunity to succeed, because people are really kind of focused on their own self-interest before they're willing to go ahead and get involved in somebody else's. So all of those things are really important. This idea of ambiguity is dangerous because of the risks involved. The risk that it'll generate fear, the risk that it'll generate uncertainty or doubt, lack of understanding, perception of the wrong intention. All of these things are important if we're going to go ahead and try and work together toward common ends. And you see a lot of these problems today in the political climate that surrounds all of us, and the polarization that's occurring, and the lack of communication, clear, concise communication to help, if nothing else, explain what your point of view might be, and also to try and understand what somebody else's point of view might be. I think these things all work together to build a strong civil society. And they're all worthy of a little bit of conscious effort and thought. So give that a shot. Think about ambiguity. Think about communication. Think about communicating clearly. And most important, think about spending a little bit of time figuring out why you're communicating in the first place, and what it is you want, need, and expect out of this interaction. Because I don't think many people do that. I think a lot of times people just talk to hear themselves talk. This is coming from somebody who's sitting here in a room alone, talking to hear himself talk. So, in the meantime, stay well, stay strong, stay safe. Pay attention to social distancing. Wear your mask when you're out and about. Take care of yourself. Take care of the others around you. We got to get through this, and we got to get through it together. In the meantime, stay well. Take care.